6 in the morning. Me and Jake are headed out for the 2024 hunting season, and let's just hope, good Lord willing, we're going to be able to see something this time. I just take a see something. We were driving and we saw 4-point buck just walk out in front of me and Jake. Just amazing. If this is something you do in your life, appreciate it, because not very many people live like us. All right, we're back up in here in an area that me and Jake had scouted, and we found a really nice deer rub up in that area right there. Hello, America. Back in the woods, and just wanted to kind of make a pre-video to the deer hunting. Just let y'all know that we were unsuccessful in harvesting a deer this year, which is kind of a bummer, but we would say that it was a very successful hunt. We learned a whole bunch while we were out there this year. I've seen a total of 4 bucks this season. Me and Jake saw 3 bucks, one of them on private land, one of them just running across the road, and we got out of the vehicle and hunted him up around the mountain, and we've got some video from that. And another buck, which was really our best opportunity to harvest a deer this year, but me and Jake didn't have ourselves paced out quite far enough, and we were a little too close together. And as a young buck, maybe 3-pointer, 2 or 3-pointer, and he just kind of was bouncing through the woods. We were way back in the woods in an area where there's a creek, and he was just bouncing through the woods and came up on us. And if Jake had been 50 yards behind me or 30 yards behind me, he might have had a shot at him, but he bounced up on us when we were together, and he kind of stopped and paused and saw us, but we didn't have enough time to get our guns drawn, and he took off. And if we'd been spread out, I might have walked right past him, because I didn't even actually see him until I noticed Jake seeing him. And then when the deer noticed the two of us seeing him, he took off, and we tracked him for a little ways down in the woods. But you know, hunting up here in these backwoods is one of the most difficult environments. This is the deep woods of Idaho, and it's definitely one of the more difficult environments to hunt in. You know, when you hunt high desert, or you hunt in the plains areas, or when you hunt fields with edge lines or tree lines on them, it's a little bit easier because you've got such a far view of everything. You can drive around in glass and see herds of deer and follow them and get yourself into a good position. But when you're out here hunting in the backwoods, mostly thick timber, and you know, it's just probably the most difficult environment. And lots of people, I ain't making no excuses, it's also open hunt up here, and so there's a lot of hunting pressure. We're in one of our spots that we call Rock Spot, and while I was sitting there, I counted a total, in one night, I counted a total of 20 vehicles going up and down the road, side-by-sides, 4-wheelers, and other vehicles. And as we were leaving on the last day of our hunt, it was on a Saturday, there was people coming up the mountain, and they actually pulled us, some of the guys that were hunting stopped us, and while we were talking to them, we had a traffic jam of vehicles. Another vehicle got stuck behind him, another vehicle, and 5 vehicles behind him, 5 vehicles going down the road. So there's a lot of hunting pressure up here this year, but we got into an area that we just have not been able to get in and recon before, and we learned a whole bunch. And like I said, we saw our first bucks this year, so that's a good sign, and we definitely learned. So I would call it a successful hunt up here. Obviously, I've had more successful hunts where we were able to harvest deer, but those were hunting fields on tree lines, on edge lines. And I didn't realize how good I had it back then. We had the ability to hunt the woods, and we had the ability to hunt fields. And you know, we took all of our deer in the fields. One deer we took in high desert in some sagebrush, but everything else was hunting edge lines of fields. So we don't have that up here, so it's a whole new thing. But this is where I want to hunt, and this is where I'm going to keep hunting. It ain't that I don't want to harvest a deer. I will go someplace else if I'm not successful up here, but I'm always going to be putting my first efforts up here because this is my backyard. This is where we want to be. These are our woods, so we got to hunt them. We got to learn how to hunt them. We got to be successful at it, and we will be. We will be. We will get a deer. Promise you, America. Till the next time. Back at you.
Here we go. Aren't they beautiful? Oh.
Good looking buck. I think that might be the buck me and Jake saw last time.
They are.
Get the buck, baby.
There's a whole bunch
Get
of
the buck. Get the doe. Get the buck.
Just go slow. Tracy, slow.
Traction. That's why we're going so slow.
He's with about 1, 2, 3, 4.
Way too slow. Did you get him?
Yeah, there he is.
All right, trying to be quiet. We're just past a couple of our hunting spots, and we were driving, and we saw a 4-point buck just walk out in front of me and Jake. I think I just saw him at the top of that rock. So I'm going to head up to the top of that rock. Right up there. See what happens. 51 years old, still climbing mountains. We didn't catch up with the 4-pointer, but we got to the top. Here's the peak of these rocks, and that's an amazing view. Even if you don't get to take a deer, which is always really what I want, these moments, they're the amazing moments. I don't know if you can see over there very well. See what I can do. Just amazing. If this is something you do in your life, appreciate it. Because not very many people live like us. It's just God's creation. It's breathtaking, awe-inspiring, truly amazing. These mountains just go on and on and on. Can't wait to hunt that open area. Excited to see what's over there. Every year we're finding more stuff. It's even got a road going right up there. So I'm hoping we'll just be able to sit in those trees right there. And then it starts to clear out. Maybe sit in right over in there in the center of the screen and see what's around that corner. But just amazing. God is great. Well, no sign of the 4-pointer, but we got up here on this mountaintop. I think I found us a new hunting grounds. Look at that. Big wide open area. We're gonna have to check it out. Jake's going for it. There's another peak. He thinks that buck is over that peak. You might be able to see him. He's right there in the middle of the screen. And he thinks he's going up there. But it's about to get dark. But I bet that's a great view from up there. There's Jaker. Back to the amazing scenery. Me and Jake have been stalking some deer, some does, and they're about 20 yards in front of me, right in this bush I just saw them. See if we can come up on them or a buck. Jake, I just saw them in between us. They're in front of me. They were about 20 yards in front of me. I don't think Jake heard me on the radio. I think he went over this hill, thinking that the deer were in front of us. That's what we thought. But they were actually in between us. Jake was right. He thought they might be, they were in front of us, but in between us. Just not out in front of us as far as we thought. Man, they went into some rough stuff, making it hard for me to follow them. All right, we're back up in here in an area that me and Jake had scouted, and we found a really nice deer rub up in that area right there. We found the deer rub right up in that area right there. It's really cold today. It's about 18 degrees this morning up here. We're about 6,000 elevation. This is a pretty good spot. There's a creek right there. That's Wilson Creek. Right there, Wilson Creek.